Welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we're doing a little bit of an Easter book tag, which I did pull off the website The Blind Scribe, but I did see Belle Therese also do this in her latest video, so I will link those in the description box down below. But before I up the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you love all things books. Truthfully, I don't think I've celebrated Easter in well over a decade. I am not religious. And frankly, I really only celebrated Easter with my family members, my grandma, my mama, when we were younger. But I saw Belle Therese do this, and I love me a good book tag. You know, if you are unfamiliar with my book tags, I try to keep it to one book per question, which I feel like can be a little struggle for most book lovers. So we will try to stick to that. But my mama passed away last week, the week before Easter. And something in me just told me that she would like something Easter themed. This could just be me coping or what. So if I'm not as high energy, that's why. But I guess without further ado, let's hop into these 8 questions. Also, update, the bookshelf is now behind me. The first question is, Easter egg, book that feels like hidden gem. So hidden gem to me feels like a book that doesn't get enough hype or isn't as popular as it could be. And this one I'm going to pick Love Points to You by Alice Lynn. I read what I believe is her debut novel Fireworks last year, and that follows a girl falling in love with her K-pop boy band best friend. This one is a sapphic debut from her, following Linda Fan, whose most favorite thing in the world is art. She recently joined a blended family where her dad married this woman, and she is no longer an only child. But she's also worried about finances, as her dad seems to be funneling most of their money into her new stepsister. So when she's in need of cash and her classmate Angela offers to front her a new iPad and $10,000 to help her create an Otome game, Linda's like, sure, hop on that right now. And then, of course, romance ensues. If you're looking for sapphic and asexual representation, this one's definitely for you. I also thought it was really sweet. And if you're looking for something that's cutesy sweet with coming of age elements and a little bit of romance, this one's for you. Question 2 is Bloom, a debut novel you loved. So this is, in fact, a debut novel. I was trying to look at my shelf and try and pick out which ones were debuts. But this one I know for a fact is a debut because it says in the author bio on the back. So A Bond Me for Two by Trinity Wynn. This is in fact another sapphic romance. Another YA sapphic romance, to be correct. This one, like the last one, does have a lot of coming of age elements to it. And this one is definitely strangers to friends to lovers. So in this one, you are following Lon, who is the author of A Bond Me for Two, a very popular Vietnamese food blog, which Vivi, a Vietnamese American girl, loves. So Lon is currently dealing with the aftermath of her father's death and the struggle with trying to be the perfect daughter and also wanting to go off and live and travel on her own. Also in the same realm, we have Vivi, who is the daughter of Vietnamese immigrants who are living in Los Angeles or San Francisco, I'm not sure, but they're living in California, who is lying to her parents about spending the summer in Singapore, and in fact is studying abroad in Saigon, which her mother has told her multiple times never to go back to Vietnam. And while she is there, Vivi is searching for her long-lost family. And of course, the two meet up, and Lon offers to help Vivi find her family members, and Vivi helps, encourage Lon to start working on the blog once again. And a little cutesy romance ensues from there. This one is very sweet. Again, I think this one, if you're looking for a coming-of-age sapphic romance with a little touch of just that romance, this one's for you. 3, Chocolate Bunny, a book so good you didn't want it to end. So the book that I'm going to talk about right now could fit for multiple prompts on here, but that is, in fact, A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. This does, in fact, have a sequel now, but it is interconnected standalones, and it is following another person in here. I do believe that I need more of their story, because this is also getting a movie adaptation, which it's been getting a movie adaptation for years. The actors have been attached to it. I have to believe it's done and made right now. I'm waiting for Kit Connor to grace our screens again. But if you don't know anything about A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow, what rock have you been living under? I feel like this is an OG favorite on book to you. This one is following, I can't remember, is it Lila or Leela? I'm going to go with Lila Reyes. She is born and raised in Miami, Florida. She is recently experiencing a multitude of loss, particularly regarding her grandmother, who was the owner of this bakery that Lila plans on inheriting and taking over. But after a terrible mental health spell, her parents were like, actually, you need to take a break. You need a moment to catch your breath. So we are sending you to live with your family in London. And Lila is dead set against this. But when she arrives to the little bed and breakfast that her aunt and uncle own, she offers to help cook for them. And while she's there, she starts to make friends, including one fellow grieving person, Orion Maxwell, who is grieving for a whole bunch of other reasons. But a little romance ensues. If you like London Boy by Taylor Swift, please proceed. However, when this book ended, I'm like, well, I need the college years right now. So, what is her name? Laura? I'm gonna need the college years as soon as possible. I know we already have a sequel, but also the sequel follows a bisexual woman, so lots of bisexuals in here. What can I say? I read what I like and what I know. All right, but I do highly recommend this one, especially if we're about to enter the summer months. Always a great summer rec. 4, cheap book you bought for super cheap. So I'm going to talk about Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, a 5-star read from last year. I have a lot of YA books on here, I have realized. Oh well. This was my introduction to Talia Hibbert, and I have been going down the path. I'm going through her backlist. So I've read this one, I've read her Bound Sisters trilogy, and I'm starting her other interconnected standalone trilogy. I don't know the name, but it started with The Princess Trap, and you'll see my review of that in the monthly wrap-up. This is her only YA novel, and it is following Bradley and Celine. So Celine and Bradley used to be great friends when they were kids, but when high school came, they started to grow apart into different crowds, and Celine feels kind of abandoned her for the popular crowd. But Celine is going out for the Catherine Breakspear program, which is a wildlife, skills training program, and if she happens to make in, the top 2 or 3, she will get awarded a scholarship. And Brad's like, I need that money. I need that money now. So I'm also going to participate. And while they're forced to work together and participate in this program, they start to contest with the feelings that have always been there. If you're looking for another bisexual rep, I should just call this bisexual rep videos. Our MMC is bisexual and deals with OCD. So if you're looking for that, this one's for you. This one definitely leans much heavier into the romance than I feel like the first 2 do. So I highly recommend this one. Number 5, Jelly Bean, book you thought was sweet. So this can be a little bit subjective because sweet could be a lot of YA romances. However, I have recommended a lot of YA romances in this video. So we're going to talk about the most recent 5-star read, Business Casual by B.K. Borison. B.K. Borison knows how to do small town romance, in my opinion. This is in fact her most spice-filled book, but does that make it a super spicy book? That's really up to you. There are just a lot of spice scenes in here. This one is following Nova, who is the sister to Beckett from book 2, In the Weeds. Nova is trying to get her own tattoo parlor off the ground. She's been tattooing for years, and she's kind of been self-sufficient all of her life, but she's kind of worried with everything that's going on in regards to opening a new business. So one night, she's like, I need a little release. I need a little, relaxation time. So she approaches Charlie, who is in fact, what is her name? I can't remember her name, but he is the brother of the first girl in book 1, Love Life Farms. And Charlie's kind of always been this flirtatious guy. He's been helping her with the business aspect of her things. And she approaches him and proposes a one-night stand. And Charlie's like, hold up. You've never been this interested before. What's going on? But then eventually they start to grow on each other and they strike up a deal of a friends with benefits situation. And then, in fact, friends with benefits becomes more. And I thought this one was just the sweetest, cutest, kicking, giggling, screaming vibe. Of all the couples in this book, I can't tell if this one or the last one is my favorite. The last 2 books in the series, 5-star reads. This one is technically set in the fall. However, I do believe, seasonally ambiguous in my opinion. Easter Basket, filled with many surprises. So these are books to me. So I am not surprised very easily. I can usually spot a plot twist or anything going on a mile away. Does that usually hinder my enjoyment of things? It really just depends on what I'm reading. So I try to pick a book that really just took me by surprise. I didn't expect it to love it as much, or there were things happening that I was like, okay, I see you. You kind of had me. You kind of got me. Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. This book surprised me in 2 ways in the fact that I picked it up. It's like a zombie, historical horror YA situation. Not necessarily my vibe. but I could not put it down. Like, I flew through the first half of this book like in record time. And this book is divided into parts. So part 1 and part 2, talk about surprises, took me, I was like, okay. Maybe I kind of spotted it, but I also was like, nope, not on my radar. Didn't expect us to go down that right. And this is the first book in a duology. So essentially, kind of trying to describe this feels a bit like odd because I don't know if I can describe it well. But essentially, we're taking place in the 1880s. This book answers the question of what would have happened if the zombie apocalypse took place during the American Civil War. So during the American Civil War, the zombies rose up from the ground. Essentially, the government decided to do their best to take them out and keep them away from civilized, society. And we're in the 1880s right now, where the daughters of formerly enslaved individuals are now essentially recruited to be trained to fight off zombies for their white female counterparts. And there's where we find Jane McKean. She is learning how to fight off zombies, but Jane's starting to look around and realize that the zombie situation may not be as contained or handled as they previously thought. Justina Ireland also does what I call very subtly queer novels of they are queer. They are queer. But would you know through the majority of the book if she didn't happen to mention that one-off line? No. So if you're looking for a book that has some queerness in it, but you're trying to keep it more on the down low, she's for you. Rabbits, books you wish would multiply / have a sequel. One of my favorite books of all time. She's battered, she's bruised. Red, white, and royal blue. Everyone and the mama knows what this is. This is like the quintessential queer romance of the new decade. And there's obviously a movie out. And I get it, the movie adaptation was not great. However, it is now a comfort movie for me. And the reason I'm choosing this, well, I think this kind of wraps up their story really well. They have announced there's going to be sequels to the movie. So I, in fact, need Casey to hop on writing the sequel to the book. And if you don't know what it's about, I feel like you already do. We are following Alex Claremont Diaz, the son of the American president, who falls for Prince Henry, the spare, the second in line to the English throne. One day, they have a little snafu at the English wedding, and they are forced to act as friends in order to, avoid a PR scandal. And in his acting and being forced to act as friends, they start to realize feelings for each other. We have another bisexual lead, Alex. This was one of the first books that really got me back into reading as an adult, and I will always remember my times reading this very fondly. In fact, I do have a desire to reread it, every year, so we'll see how I feel. I also want to rewatch the movie now, so if you're looking for great summer reads, also on there. Lastly, Hunt, book that was hard to get a hold of. Now, there are a couple books, because I feel like I find authors I love, and I'm like, let's go to the backlist. And I feel like the backlist is very hard to usually pick up. So this one, the sequel to a 5-star read from last year. And I do have a video reading this at some point this year. I got it for Christmas. This had to have been found online. Saint Seducing Gold by Brittany Ann Williams. Obviously, this is a sequel, so I can't tell you much about the sequel. Although, these covers? I don't think there's any end papers. There's no end papers. Although I am now recognizing that there is, in fact, a stain on my book. That's going to piss me off down the line. So this is a sequel to That Selfsame Metal, Brittany Ann Williams. I believe it is her debut novel. It is a YA fantasy following Joan Sands, who is essentially the fight master, fight trainer for the Globe Theatre during the time of Shakespeare. But she also has a sequel where she has been endowed with the ability to control and basically create metal at will by the Orisha god Ogun, I believe. And during the time that she is working at the Globe Theatre, the pact between the Fae and humans has been broken. So now the Fae are acting out, particularly the Fae king, queen, ruler, Oberon, and Joan and Oberon don't really like each other. But Joan has the ability to create iron, which is the only mortal instrument that could kill them. So, fights ensue. Another bisexual lead. I have a thing. So for my fellow bisexuals here, this one mostly focuses on the fantasy, but there is a romance in here that love this one. The romance in this one, top tier, which I feel like people who are like, okay, if you're like fantasy with a sprinkle of romance, like you prefer mostly fantasy, this one's for you. I will say, if you are a YA reader who doesn't love gore, There are intermission chapters in here that do include the Fae's happenings, and the Fae get a little gruesome when it comes to their appetite. So do keep that one in mind. But those are all of the books that I'm going to be mentioning for this book tag. If you would like to take part in it, feel free to answer them in the comments down below, and I will link the website and Belle's video in the description box. And I will see y'all in the next video.